Pokémon Yellow was the first ever Pokémon game I've ever played. I remember playing this game so much on the Game Boy Color and falling in love with all of the creatures you can catch and train. However, I will note that despite it being the first Pokemon game I played, it wasn't the game that made me a lifelong fan. That honor goes to Pokemon Pearl, but it definitely set the foundation for what's to come. And originally, Pokemon Yellow was my sister's copy, not mine. But eventually I was able to start a new file on the cartridge. Quick side story, but I remember when I was little, I don't know why, but I recall myself saying that I didn't like Pokemon and that I thought it was overrated or something. Again, I don't know why, because when I finally played the game, I absolutely loved it. But that was young me, I suppose. I started my Yellow adventure sometime before Generation 4 was about to release, and at this point Pokemon was already a mainstay franchise. But at the time, I didn't really know much about the series at all other than my copy of Yellow I had, and that my sister liked the game as well as the anime existing. I remember starting the game and not being sure what to do. I went to the wild grass on the route and then Professor Oak stops me from proceeding further. Then, in his lab, I got Pikachu and I had a battle with my rival, which if I recall, I did call him Gary because at that time, I was somewhat familiar with the anime and I recognized his name, so Gary it was. But I didn't get too far into the game, as I believe I stopped until I got to Viridian Forest. I didn't know what to do, so I stopped there and I didn't pick up the game again until after I played Pokemon Pearl. After I played Pearl, I went back to Yellow to see what I was missing out on since I was a bit older and I knew how to navigate better, and this is how I finally experienced Yellow in full. Now, as we all know, Pokemon is a game where you get 8 badges to challenge the Pokemon League to become the champion, while also fighting off Team Rocket from their evil schemes, and of course, completing the Pokedex for Professor Oak, so I won't dive into many of that stuff you're already familiar with. But I do also want to recount my favorite memories while playing the game. And one thing I really want to start off with is a specific track that plays in the game that doesn't play that often. It's the music that plays on Route 24 and 25 where the Nugget Bridge is located. It also plays in the beginning of the game where you name your character in a new save file. But that song, every time I hear it, gets me so nostalgic for some reason. Something about how grand it sounds gives me chills. And it's my personal favorite track in Gen 1, along with the champion battle theme. Again, no other route plays this music, and on the topic of Route 24 and 25, I was always in awe about this location for some odd reason, just like the music that plays there. You go up Nugget Bridge to get to Bill's house, but once you get there and do what you need to do, the route doesn't go anywhere else. It just stops, and as a kid, I always wondered if there was something beyond there. Maybe there was something behind Bill's house that people rumored about, only to find out that it was nothing more than how the game is programmed, making it look like you can go beyond. But still, something that I like about Pokemon is the curiosity to explore and see what's out there, and traveling to new locations was always a fun treat. Also, another location that I really like is Celadon City because of how cheerful the whole place is. The music was also fun to listen to and it only plays there. There are a couple of things that you can do, like go to the department store or try to get prizes from the slots, which I never liked doing because of how annoying it was. This is also the place where you can buy evolution stones, which is perfect since you can also get Eevee here. I think I chose Jolteon, but I don't really recall that much. What I do recall was the team I chose, which to be honest wasn't anything too exciting. I had Pikachu because of course I had him. And I had all 3 starters with me because it was very cool having all of them, since it's very unusual to have all 3 in a single playthrough unless you traded with someone. But in Yellow, you got all of them, so they were on the team. Also, I had Lapras, which you can also get at the Silphco building. And for the last slot, it was usually the slot where I would switch out different Pokemon like Arcanine or Hitmonlee. But this game was to mimic the anime, so that's why Pikachu and the starters were given to you. And let me tell you something about Pikachu. I liked how it said its name like in the anime. Yeah, it wasn't very clear and very static sounding, but it said its name rather than its normal cry. Did you know that you can get Pikachu to like you very fast at the start of the game? Just get a potion and keep trying to heal Pikachu even if it's at full health, and boom, Pikachu instantly likes you. Just one of the many quirks that the game had. And glitches too. Back in the day, I stumbled upon a forum online talking about Glitch City, a place that you can go to if you meet certain criteria by messing with the Safari Zone and saving the game. At first, I thought, whoa, you can just go beyond the map, and this was actually legit? But I followed the steps from the forum and it worked. I was there and I saw a bunch of numbers and things out of place, but I thought it was pretty neat. I did freak out a bit when I saw my Pikachu run across the screen and I was like, Pikachu, are you alright? and then I was done and I flew out of there, my file was still intact. I also had the experience playing this game on my TV too. Growing up, I also had an N64, and my cousin let me have his copy of Pokemon Stadium and the transfer he had to connect my game to. Being able to see my Pokemon battle in 3D while also hearing the announcer from the anime gave me more life to these creatures. I know at that point we already had Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, but still, being a kid getting the opportunity to do this was awesome. Nowadays, mainline Pokemon games are only in 3D, and now I long for a return to 2D. Stadium was also fun because I enjoyed the minigames, like the one with Lickitung trying to eat sushi. So during this time period, my cousin who gave me Pokemon Stadium would also give me a copy of Pokemon Blue. I remember putting this game into my Game Boy for the first time, and I remember my reaction being, why do all of the Pokemon look so funny? Since Yellow based a lot of its sprites from the anime, the Pokemon seen there already had their looks pretty much locked down from that point. But Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue didn't really have those looks that we're used to just yet. So when I played Pokemon Blue for the first time, I got a kick from seeing these designs, especially Geodude. At this point in time, I was still playing a lot of Yellow and Blue on my Game Boy Color, and one time at a family party, my uncle went up to me and said, "You're still playing that?" And I said, "Yeah, because despite it being old, it was fun. And even now, it's still fun." And fighting my rival to become champion is just epic. Someone who started his journey at the same time as you did, but he was always slightly ahead of you. And in the final battle, the iconic champion battle theme plays, and I just felt satisfied when Gary was defeated. One cool thing to note is that if you play with battle animations off, in the final battle, animations are automatically turned on and you can't change this. I got caught off guard the first time I stumbled upon this on another save file. My brain was like, I thought I turned this off, but no, the game changes the setting for more dramatic effect, I suppose. But are Generation 1 titles games that you should play in this day and age? Well, if you want to experience the first generation for what it is, then sure, but it does have its flaws, like the battle mechanics. I will say it right now, Wrap is annoying. Unlike modern titles where Wrap affects you at the end of the turn, dealing little damage, in Generation 1, that move can be spammed essentially stun locking you, which gets really annoying. And that can last for up to 5 turns. Or how about accurate moves that can still miss? But I did enjoy using the Leech Seed plus Toxic combo to regain a lot of health from my Venusaur. I stumbled upon that error by chance, and it wasn't until later I realized that effect wasn't supposed to happen normally. So if you want to play Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow, just know that this is where the series started, so expect everything not being up to modern standards. There are no Pokemon natures or abilities, the physical special split doesn't even happen until Generation 4, and Psychic types are Pokemon that are broken due to special being one stat and not being split into special attack and defense respectively. You can get an Alakazam, or heck even just a Kadabra, and you can win most battles with just using Psychic. And if you caught Mewtwo, nothing can stop you. Also, these are Game Boy games, so you're gonna be looking at a whole lot of pixels producing basic images with not a whole lot of fancy things to look at. But these games have their charm for being the beginning, and introducing us to what will be one of the biggest franchises in the world. Even now, I still go back to playing Yellow, Red, or Blue when I want to play a simpler Pokemon title where I don't have to worry about getting the perfect natures or worrying about EVs and IVs. All I care about is battling with a wide range of Pokemon to choose from and working with a new team every time I start a new playthrough. So, I hope you liked this video about me talking about how special Generation 1 is. More specifically Pokemon Yellow version, but still all of Gen 1 games apply. This was another storytime / nostalgia moment for me that I wanted to share with everyone, and there will be more videos on Pokemon in the future, especially when we get to Generation 4 with Pokemon Pearl, because I got some stories I gotta talk about with that one. But we have other games to get to first. Also, there are other types of videos I want to try producing that are unrelated to video games, and hopefully it's something that you all might be interested in seeing. So until next time, stay calm, stay chill, and see you all later.